I used to believe I had married the love of my life, until I stumbled upon something that shattered everything I thought I knew about my wife. It was a regular Monday. My laptop battery died, so I grabbed my wife Bailey's work tablet to finish some tax work. She wasn't home, just me and the baby, and we've always had a level of trust where using each other's devices was never an issue. We never had anything to hide, or so I believed. When I opened the browser, I noticed an incognito tab. That was odd, considering neither of us really uses that feature. Curiosity got the better of me. I clicked it and found she was logged into a hidden Google account. What I discovered there left me physically sick, a private photo album titled XX with 348 pictures of my ex-girlfriend, the same woman I had been in a long, emotionally abusive relationship with before I met Bailey. These weren't just a few old social media pictures. They spanned years, everything from family gatherings, work events, even high school yearbook photos. In many, other people in the frame were blacked out, leaving only my ex. It was obvious that Bailey had been collecting and curating these for almost a decade. The album had been updated just 2 weeks before. What made it worse was the other folders I found. One was dedicated to close-up images of my ex's hairstyles. I hadn't realized it before, but Bailey had recently changed her hair in a strikingly similar way. There was another folder filled with screenshots of online posts and comments from groups my ex is part of, even though she's barely active on social media. Bailey had also saved direct links to exact items my ex wore in some of the pictures. I recognized some of those same clothes and objects, boots, a water bottle, even a specific blouse, because Bailey had purchased identical ones over time. Looking back now, I can't believe I missed all the signs. Bailey's evolving interests, hobbies, and even career decisions. Everything seemed to align gradually with what my ex was doing. And yet, at the time, I thought it was just normal change and growth. My ex lives in another country now. The idea that Bailey kept tabs on her this whole time from afar is chilling. I haven't confronted Bailey yet. I don't know if I can. I feel like the life I've built, the love I trusted, has all been under false pretenses. I look at our daughter, and I feel lost. The idea that the woman I married may have been crafting herself to resemble someone who deeply hurt me is too much to process. I keep thinking about gathering all those photos, printing them out, laying them on the kitchen table, and walking away forever. But we have a child, a life. Nothing feels real anymore. Some people suggested it could be a mental health issue. Maybe OCD manifesting through obsessive digital hoarding or identity fixation. It's possible. I've suspected for a while that something wasn't quite right, but this is beyond what I could have imagined. What makes it worse is that I never spoke positively about my ex. My wife knew the trauma I went through. And still, she seems to have modeled herself after this woman. I'm now left questioning whether Bailey was already fixated on my ex before we even met. But considering my ex moved here from abroad for school and didn't have connections before then, it's unlikely. Still, the obsession clearly runs deep, and I have no idea when it started, or why. What I do know is that I feel betrayed, confused, and deeply heartbroken. Everything I thought I had, the love, the partnership, the life we were building, now feels tainted and uncertain. My ex had absolutely nothing to do with why my wife and I broke up. Bailey wasn't involved in any way. Now, onto the real update. The day after everything happened, once I had calmed down, I started reaching out to therapists and social workers. My plan was to have a mediated confrontation. Unfortunately, the only providers who accepted our insurance were booked for a few weeks. Despite what many people might assume, I've known my wife for nearly 10 years. Even during all the confusion, hurt, and doubt, I never truly believed she posed a danger to me. So we brought our baby to her grandmother's house, and I asked my wife to take a walk with me. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I told her directly that I found the folder. Her face flushed red, and she froze at first, trying to play it down, but I didn't let up. Eventually, she broke down crying and begged me not to leave. Here's what I learned. Bailey initially looked up my ex out of curiosity, maybe just to keep tabs, but over time, it escalated into something more obsessive. She described it like an addiction, driven partly by a desire to impress me. Maybe I mentioned my ex more often than I realized, and Bailey tried to emulate what she thought I admired. She admitted she struggles with her sense of identity and that my ex became a kind of ideal to her, someone who had me first. Tracking down information and objects related to my ex became a sort of game for her. For example, she'd search for specific items like a blue water bottle with green stripe until she could match it exactly with something in a photo. The reason I couldn't find the original social media posts was because my ex had changed her name and made a new Facebook account. Bailey found it by looking up one of her family members. She created fake profiles, added mutual friends until she had access to my ex's private posts, and eventually even got accepted into a private Instagram and an exercise group where videos were posted. She dug through old school yearbooks to find photos, collecting images over time just for the thrill of it, even though my ex is notoriously private. Originally, the folder she kept was called Hex, so if I ever discovered it, she could pretend it was for some sort of curse. Later she made a burner Google account, deleted the old folder, and named the new one XX. Eventually she got careless, and that's when I happened to stumble upon it on a work tablet. We took a break. It lasted a while. We've now started couples counseling, and we're also seeing separate therapists. She hasn't seen a psychiatrist yet, but it's on the list. She promised to stop the behavior and deleted the photo album in front of me. Slowly, some of the clothes she bought to mimic my ex began disappearing from our closet. I still don't fully trust her. That's something I need to work through myself. A part of me fears she has another hidden account, some kind of backup. But the physical copying has started to fade. Even her hair is no longer styled like my ex's. We're not okay, not yet. I want us to be, and I know that may take time. If it turns out we can't get through this, then I'll have to face that. What I do know is that my wife is deeply insecure, possibly dealing with serious mental health issues, and has clearly lost her way. I'm not ready to give up on her just yet. If I ever post another update, I hope it's a positive one. As for the responses I've seen, a lot of people say this is the most insecure behavior they've ever come across in a partner. Some point out how extreme it is to try so hard to copy someone else, especially an ex. They say the relationship looks one-sided and unlikely to end well. A few have suggested creating a plan in case things fall apart. Talk to a lawyer, document everything, avoid impulsive actions. Truthfully, making a plan is something I've been struggling with. It's been a few months, and I still haven't done it. I think I'm scared of what it would mean. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's where I am right now.